Good afternoon, Jan.
Good afternoon. Good morning, Michael. Good morning.
Uh,
Well, how have you been?
Oh man, I've been obsessed with something new now. I will get back to Cascade, but but yeah, after demonstrating how I build the software factory around Cascade,
Mhm.
and having conversations with a few other people, I realized I really need to put together a document that shows what I mean when I talk about building a custom software factory and why you need to do it. So, um, so yeah,
Mhm.
I've been obsessed with building a brand new website now.
Okay.
so so
No,
yeah.
because on my side, I didn't do much on the software, but I did watch your presentation
Hmm.
on Cascade, and the setting was that you stopped after the user stories, because
Yes,
there
yeah.
it got very interesting. I say, oh, what's going to happen now to that to that graph? Um, but it's amazing. You write a skill to write a user story, and it's really going step by step.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's exactly the power of the software factory. Um,
mm,
yeah, a lot of people when they approach AI assisted development, they are really focused on putting in the right prompt in order to get the results. So it's like, I'm gonna give you an explanation of what I want, and then let you go and see if the results are what I expected. Um, but yeah, taking a more systematic approach, you can iteratively build up to the prompts that you need, and then
mm.
execute them.
Because that's the advantage of the way you do it. You really step through it step by step, and each step has a review.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm,
Exactly. Yeah, and so you don't build on top of anything that is less than ideal. So if there if there are any mistakes, don't let them slide, because then the next thing is just going to be built on that mistake, and it's going to continue off in a different direction. You have to be very diligent about um, tightening the quality at every step of the way.
mm. Another thing that I found amazing was that you're even thinking about integrating um, Cascade with artificial intelligence. And
Hmm.
so the Jinaga file, the structure of the pipelines, is just human readable,
Hmm.
um, which is actually that combined with a skill would mean that an artificial intelligence could make direct output of data, convert data directly into a dashboard.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And yeah,
Mm,
I was thinking, as I'm thinking about the Cascade product, do I build a little chat window into the product like you see in lots of other products, so you can chat um, with your data, and I may still do that for the accessibility, but I am more interested and more excited about the idea of exposing it as a tool for you to integrate into whatever system you happen to be using. So if you are a Cursor user, then now Cascade becomes a tool that you can use within Cursor. Um, or if you're using Claude Codework, which is
mm,
basically Claude Code, but for the rest of us. Um, so I'm perfectly happy in Claude Code, but I give that um, to my sales manager, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to stay on the command line. I want something that's a bit more familiar. And so I show him Cloud
mm,
Codework, and it's exactly the same capabilities, but it's like, oh, this looks more familiar. Um, so um, if you find yourself in Cloud Codework and you're using that to manage files on your file system, Cloud Codework is really well optimized for managing your local files. So if you're managing some Excel spreadsheets,
mm.
then I can imagine that you would say, okay, I you, know, you want to download my sales from this sales portal over here, that's downloaded as a CSV file, and you would probably right now go, okay, open that up in Excel and do this analysis to it. But yeah, with Cascade installed, then you would be able
Mm.
to say, load this into Cascade and execute this dashboard on it, or let's iteratively build the dashboard, and then
Mm.
the analysis and the components start to show up within Cascade.
Yeah, and then the final step, integrated with Jinaga specifications.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
that's going to be really powerful. Yeah, I was just um, presented with a use case that would really sell that idea. Um, so I'm working on a data warehouse um, for my client, um, and so this data warehouse is supposed to ingest all of this information from running their daily business, so all of the different processes. Um,
mm.
and so um, people in the C-suite need to be able to see what's going on in their business, and so they uh, they need to be able to interact with this data. Now, there are some processes like price changes, specifically around postage in this case, that happen very infrequently. So every 6 months, USPS comes out with a new pricing schedule,
Mm.
and so um, somebody needs to load that into the system. But um, we've decided not to invest in building out a big user interface for this application to be used once every 6 months. We said, okay,
Mm.
uh, we're going to gradually iterate on this. So at first it's a DBA process, and then maybe it's a manual upload, and finally, if we see that we need more structure around it, we can build that structure. But let's start simple. And so there's somebody in the C-suite that is uh, or directing their people to research all these different uh, price changes and load them into a spreadsheet, and then giving that to a DBA, and the DBA has to reread instructions on, oh, okay, this is supposed to go into that table, and so they
Mm.
handcraft an insert statement, and then compare, and then run, and then okay, now the information's in the insert in the table. Um, but wouldn't it be better for the people doing this research to have Claude Cowork, and they are using Claude Cowork in order to go fetch information, assemble it, put that into you know, let's just take it one step at a time. Put that into an Excel spreadsheet, and then give that to the DBA. Well,
Mm.
yeah. Now why give it to the DBA? You want to assemble that information, and you want to say load it into the data warehouse. That's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
So how do you get from Claude Cowork on somebody's machine in the back office into the data warehouse, which is running in the cloud? Well, in order to do that securely, you have to build a bunch of infrastructure. You have to build an API, you have to build authentication, or you have to
Mm.
um, build an ETL, and that's custom software development. But um, if the platform was built using Janaga, then the person using Claude Cowork could create some facts, and those
Mm.
facts would be authorized. So they would already be authenticated as this member of the organization, and that
Mm.
authorization would say, okay, I trust these facts that came from this person, or a person with this level of permissions. And then there would be some component on the back end that would subscribe to those facts and then add them into the database. So Janaga as a way of just bridging those gaps, connecting um, connecting
The
people
cloud
outside of
with
a
with
yeah, exactly.
but
And yeah,
but then if this spreadsheet is generated by artificial intelligence, is it sure enough to import that directly in the database in the cloud?
yeah, you would definitely want to build in some review process. So
Mm.
the review process could be built outside of the Janaga model, or it could be built within the Janaga model. Um, so I would actually myself build it inside of the model. So you create a lot of small facts that represent, this uh, this size package or this particular service has a price change to this amount, and that price change is within this this schedule. And so you're building a whole bunch of facts that represent the schedule, but you haven't executed it yet. Um, and so uh, and so you're able to review that schedule and all those price changes, and then once you've reviewed it, and it could be the AI is producing those small facts, and then once you as the person has reviewed that schedule and those price changes, then then you just push a button, say approve, and that creates one signed fact that brings all of those small facts in as predecessors. So the transaction pattern, and uh,
Okay.
and then on the back end, it's subscribed to the transaction, not to the small facts. So yeah, that would build that into the actual way that you work um, with the model. Build it into the model, build it into the engine on the back.
Mm.
So um,
Okay.
so yeah, um, that could be layered on top of the data warehouse that I built right now. It's not that the whole application needs to be rewritten to use Janaga, but it's like, okay, for this process, we want to draw this through line, and so we will build
Mm.
a Janaga layer on top of it. We're going to use replicators in order to get the information from the back office into the cloud, and then we're going to run a um, a Lambda function that's just going to wake up, do this subscription. Oh,
Mm.
there's new information. Do the insert. Go back to sleep. So you can start to integrate Janaga without taking the full step.
Yeah, without adapting the whole process.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So then I'm starting to see, rather than a Lambda function, maybe you want to install a Janaga orchestrator was the word that I used before. I'm also thinking activator might be a good word for it, because as you said, orchestrator um, tends to imply that it's AI, and this is a great
Mm.
example of using this component in a way that's not AI, at least not at that point.
Mm.
Um, so um, so this would be an infrastructure component that knows how to run these small jobs. So
Mm.
based on this subscription, it wakes up this job and says, okay, here's all the information from the subscription. Do what you're going to do. And so that job is a plugin that says, I know how to insert stuff into a Postgres database. And then
Mm.
you configure that with a mapping from the the output of the specification, from that projection into insert statements. And then once you've configured that mapping, you can update the mapping, and you're not updating the software. You're not updating the activator or the plugin.
That's a nice concept.
Yeah.
Um, and Jinaga Cascade, it's something that you want to bring to the market, or?
Yes. Yes. So yeah, first it's going to be a free product. In fact, not just at first, but a a large subset of it is going to be free. Um,
Mm.
and then I will have analysis packs that you can purchase, in-app purchases, um, and um, so I'll basically promote it as certain use cases. So one of the first use cases I'm going to go out with is analyzing sales data out of Stripe or uh, oh goodness, I did research I put together. These are the platforms that I want to support. Stripe is the
Mm.
only one that popped into my brain right now, but uh, but yeah, so put together a tutorial on how to download your CSV from this particular service, this is the format that the CSV takes, and then we're going to go through the steps of turning that into insights and into a dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be able to automate that. So here's every time you download, so go to the website, click, download, put it in this folder, and now open up Cascade, and now you see your updated data. And so that'll be the free experience. And then the paid experience would be an analysis pack that knows how to call the Stripe API, for example.
Okay.
So,
it's not that you add additional functions, like now you're grouping, you're totaling,
right.
But you might add additional functions.
Yeah, everybody needs those basic functions, so they're going to be included.
Hmm?
There may be some additional functions that not everybody needs. The basic statistical functions,
Hmm?
mean, median, and standard deviation, I would say those ship in the box, but maybe there are some more advanced statistical functions that not everybody uses, and so then they would be part of an analysis pack.
Okay. I would like to see how you continue with the software factory.
Yeah.
After that, that user story.
Yeah, as it so happens, since I've been distracted by putting together this website, I've not actually done any work on Cascade. So we can pick up exactly where that left off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Or if you first want to show the website.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Is that?
All right. So I'm going to get this started on Zoom. Okay, it's that one, and I'm going to share this screen. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, you should be seeing factoryengineering.dev.
What's happening here? You still hear me, Michael?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, well, I think that. All right, I think Zoom went to my complete screen. Exit full screen. Okay, back to normal.
All right.
It said double click here to see the shared screen. I double clicked and he went to full screen. So covered Discord.
Not that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, factoryengineering.dev. So build software factories. So this is all about composing AI-powered tools, skills, and workflows into custom development streams. It's all about the customization. So key components. So we've got skills, commands, agents, workflows. The whole point is that these are features common to most AI IDEs. And so you can build your custom factory specifically for each unique software project and team using these components. So skills provide knowledge, opinions, and tools. And so that's where you say not just use Entity Framework, but use Entity Framework the way that my team uses Entity Framework. And like we talked about before, not just use Janaga, but use Janaga my way. So you might start with an unopinionated or somebody else's opinion skill, but then you can evolve that into your own. With commands, these are specific reusable tasks and procedures. An agent assigns a role and it has memory. I regret dropping this from the course, but while I was doing the orchestration demo, I had the persistence engineer, which was an agent in KiloCode that knew about Entity Framework. I had the persistence engineer use memory. And what that meant is that in the instructions for the persistence engineer, it says, start off, before you do anything else, loading this markdown file. And then this is this is what you do. And at the end, write all of your decisions back to that same markdown file. And so now from run to run, you had persistent memory, and it was part of the
Yeah.
repository. So yeah, if you made a mistake and had to roll back, well, you roll back that memory too. You don't keep the mistake in memory.
Mm.
So
So you had a log of everything that was that happened.
yep. Yep, and I did that for that particular agent because while I was practicing, I noticed that it kept on making the same mistake over and over again. This had to do with cascade and deletes in this case. It's like, oh, okay, I can't set cascade and deletes on this one because it's got two parents, so I have to do cascade deletes on this side, and then so it would discover that every single run, and so I said, okay, yeah, write your decisions here. And so yeah, cascade and deletes was the first decision that I wrote into that log. And then workflows. So these are multi-step processes that coordinate multiple agents. So they run orchestrations. So you can see how these things each tackle a different aspect. They come at it from a different dimension, and they kind of build on one another. So some example factories. So if you were building, for example, this catalog administration application, it's a .NET Razor Pages app, it's forms over data. These would be the skills, commands, agents, and workflows that you would evolve for that particular project. So link standards, these are the specific standards that my team has chosen for using LINQ. EF migrations, a skill that allows you to create entity framework migrations. So it knows how to run all the command line tools. Razor Pages, again, my opinion, my team's opinions on how to do Razor Pages. And then the commands are operations that you're going to perform every single time. So I want to create a migration, I want to create a page, review a PR, write a story, write a spec. And the idea of commands is that this is only half of the picture. Create migration, which migration? Create a migration for what? Create a page. What page? Give me a description of the page. And so commands are always coupled with an artifact. And this is where that factory metaphor of having the conveyor belt kind of an idea comes into play. So, like we saw, write story would be a command where you give it a little bit of information about what story you want to write, and then it comes out with the format that we saw last week. But then write spec, you provide the story, and then once you've iterated on that spec, then create migration, and you provide the spec. And then create page, also provide the spec. Review PR, you provide the URL to the pull request.
But why I'm on the website and doesn't allow me to click through on, for example, if I click on write story, there is no file behind it.
Yes, I'm actually working on that on a branch. So there's Cascade.
Okay, it's the purpose that eventually there will be an example of it. Okay.
Yes. So, this is what it's going to eventually look like. So let's go over here. And so come on down to here are my examples. So now when you hover over create migration, then it'll show you the contents of that command. Okay. So this is not yet a good representation of the contents of the command. I wanted to actually show what the markdown would look like. So link standards. So these are like here, these core principles. These are opinions. So use async when querying. You can use LINQ in a different way. The example that I want to put in here would be an even stronger set of opinions. Um, so I want you to hover over that, see these LINQ standards, and say, well, that's not the way I use LINQ. Exactly.
Mm,
Every one of these is a bespoke software factory.
mm,
So, so yeah, that's coming soon. Yeah, um, and yeah, I don't want to do like click through and you see the actual file for a couple of different reasons. First of all, this page is intended to give you the feel for what's in a software factory. Um, so, so if it were completely fleshed out and if this was an actual software factory that I had built and used,
mm.
then there would be far too much detail, and you might start looking at all the details instead of taking a step back and realizing, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should also see some commonality. So there's still an agent called FEDev here and here. This front-end dev knows about Razor pages. That front-end dev knows about React. So
Yeah.
so yeah, their contents are going to be very different. But
Mm,
in each case, a front-end dev is a role, and you might want to give that role some memory. So make it an agent. And then you should kind of be able to glance and see the relationship between agents and workflows. But when I do the hover over, I'm going to make sure that the example makes this really clear that implement feature is a a procedure, not just a sequence of steps, but also iteration and validation, all that stuff that you saw
mm.
in the course that references these agents by name.
Yeah.
So the workflow would say, well, first do the database work, and then do the back-end work, and then do the front-end work. Or actually, there's some there's some good reasons behind, hey, let's start with the front-end work, then jump to the database, and then finish up with the back-end.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's again the opinion.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do you do this workflow?
Mm,
And then the TDD cycle. This one will be clearly an
mm.
orchestration around these 4 agents. Plan, test, code, refactor. And that one would be even more clearly iterative.
And you don't want to have the validator there?
That's a really good point. I don't have any validators in these examples.
Mm,
Yeah, I definitely do want to put validators in here too. Yeah, I find that that's really how you just dial in that that quality.
mm. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, that's the idea behind
Mm,
factory engineering. And so I know that when when I launch this and I say, hey everybody, this is how you should build software factories, that that people will say, okay, great, I have this stack right here. So can I just download that software factory? And I want to say, no, you must build it.
mm,
You don't want my opinions. I'm not on your team.
mm, mm.
Um, that's going to be a an interesting line to walk because I know that that's really popular. So you may have heard of the BMAD method. So this is a breakthrough method of agile AI-driven development. It's kind of funny that it's called the BMAD method, and they've got an acronym for it, but it's because this guy, his name is Brian Madison, so
Mm.
it's really his name. But he came up with different backronyms. That's only one of
Mm.
them. There's another backronym that I saw. I forget what that one was, but yeah, the BMAD method brings it a set of agents. So it's got its own. Let's go back to this one here. So it's got its own set of agents that it defines, and the agents have different personalities, and so those agents play different roles within the Agile team. Um, let's see. Let's see if I can find a good description of the agents. Yeah, it's not really showing me the description of the agents. But yeah, one of the features that it brings is this party mode where you can bring all your agents, or some subset of agents, yeah, 3, into a meeting, and you can brainstorm. So, one of them is an architect, another one's a dev, another one's a PA, or a PM, a test engineer. So yeah, I don't know why this example shows 4. I think it's limited to 3. But yeah, you throw something into the mix, and then the different personalities start to respond. So it's really kind of fun to work with. However, it is one person's opinion on how something should be done. That's not to say that you can't change this opinion. You can't go in and update these personalities. You absolutely can, because they're just markdown files inside of your project. But it didn't start with your opinion. It started with somebody else's opinion. And so you're already deep into the forest. And maybe the path you wanted to take was way over here. So you have to carve your way through the forest in order to find the path that you really want. Versus what I'm going for here is you carve this path yourself. So you find the way to the place where you need to be. So
Yeah,
that's
but for
really
example, the skill files,
mm-hmm.
there is no, there is opinion inside it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And BMAD started just before the skills specification was launched. And so at least at the time that I was playing with it, it didn't use skills, it used agents. But then, funny enough, it has an abstraction layer. So coming back here, these are features that are available in almost all of the IDEs. And so what I intend to do is when you click on one of these, it'll show you, okay, if you're using cursor, well, then it's, the commands are in the .cursor/commands. The skills, those are in .claude/skills. Agents, they're in .kilocode or kilocode modes, or they are in .cursor/agents, or wherever they happen to be. So the opinion that, or the mechanism that's built into BMAD is an abstraction layer. So so every different every IDE has its own set of abstractions. In fact, I've got within Cascade, no, not timeline. I want to be over here. I want to go to graph. Yeah, so somewhere back here, I've got a change where I removed BMAD. Remove BMAD. So if I go back here and I create a branch with BMAD. Okay, so now, let's see. Oh, Tari configuration. Yeah, that always seems to happen. Come on. with BMAD. Come on. With BMAD. There we go. Okay, now we are back to that point. All right, so let's look at, here is our BMAD folder. We've got core agents. So there's our BMAD master agent. Yeah, where are the other agents? There they are. Yeah, so it's got different agents. Yeah, so it gives it a role. Well, first of all, it starts off with with providing some guardrails to the LLM. So, never break character. And then this is kind of funny that they have used a schema to define the role. Now, there's no code that parses the schema, but using a schema, this gets the LLM to take it a bit more seriously. So it knows exactly, okay, yeah, this is my name, this is my title. I find it funny that critical equals mandatory. It's on all of these. That seems to tell the LLM, oh, don't ignore this. And so this basically describes the persona of the architect. And then the abstraction layer. So here I happen to be using cursor. So I've got cursor commands. So there's an analysis command. But this is just an abstraction that says load the analyst from this other place. Load the architect from this other place. So these are just abstractions. And if you're using Claude, then you end up with a different set of abstractions. Actually, I didn't install the Claude. I only installed the cursor abstractions. But yeah, with this, now you are able to do something like this. So I want to go to BMAD architect and talk specifically to the architect. Describe the architecture of this project. And so basically it it loads that persona, and now it starts to act as that persona because it was told to never break character. So then describes that architecture. Yeah, so far you're not really seeing the personality shine through. So if I were to ask, who are you? Then the personality starts to become a little bit more apparent. Yeah, I'm Winston. I'm your architect agent.
Yeah, but he was thinking first before answering.
Yep.
Quite funny.
Yeah. So if I were to start a new session, then I could do BMAD Core Workflows Party Mode. So let's discuss a line graph feature. And so it's going to initiate party mode. And it's going to decide which of the personas need to be invited to this meeting.
It's based on what?
Yeah, based on the task that I gave it, and um, and some some kind of ambient information about the project.
Mm.
So yeah, party mode activated. Uh, so introducing our collaborating agents. So analyzing your message for the perfect team collaboration. For line graph feature, we want Sally, the UX engineer, Winston, the architect, and John, the product manager. John is always asking why. That is part of his personality. So so Sally, oh, well, you see line graphs mentioned in your architecture docs. So um, so yeah, in making this decision, it already looked at somewhere in the documentation. I talk about how I envision um, adding more visualizations. So I'd start with a simple single series line chart, add multi-series and interactions. I mean, that's not a bad recommendation. Winston, from an architectural perspective, we've got let's mirror your pie chart pattern. So should this be 2D or 3D? Are we talking about adding 3GS? And then John's like, wait, before we build, let's clarify the why. He's always talking about the why.
What was his role?
Yeah,
what was John's role?
He's the product manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so we go to PM. This is the. Let's go to this one. Yeah, this one here.
Vardy refers to.
Yep. So, so a lot of this is instructions to the LLM on how to load all the BMAT stuff. Yeah, stay in character. Here's your persona. Asks why relentlessly, and indeed he does. So so yeah, now the LLM is basically role playing each of these different personas and bouncing this idea back and forth. Oh, good. So we're aligned on the 2D, 3D, or 2D, D3 plus React, and following existing patterns. So yeah, after going.
But so actually, the invitation of all these personalities, that's a feature of BMAT.
Yes.
You cannot do it, for example, in Cursor without using BMAT.
Right. So, and the way that it's done, if you look at partymode.md, it is the party mode workflow.md. So here is the party mode workflow.md. This is the description to Cursor how to do that.
Okay, so if you would just copy in that markdown file, you could just run that way.
Yeah. This particular workflow has a lot of dependencies, so it would be difficult to extract just this one workflow without taking all of BMAT. But so the agents have contributed their perspectives, ready for more discussion. So yeah, you can read through this and continue the conversation, or you can exit. And so this is really impressive and really fun that this works. However, it doesn't solve a problem that I actually have. The problem that I actually have is that I want to manage context, and so so I use agents in order to create new context, give that one context a role, and then give it memory, and then the workflows will jump from one agent to another. So it'll start a brand new session for each agent, and that controls context. I want to, I want opinions. I want this knowledge base that is specific to my team, and so that's solving a problem that honestly I don't really know who has this problem. I don't know who wants to have a conversation with with a bunch of personas. And notice right here, we are still in agent mode.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't actually installed multiple cursor agents. And I think it was because at the time that this was launched, Cursor didn't support agents. I'm sure that he's updated it now, but I've already installed this version of BMAD, and because it's in my project, I'm responsible for updating it. I could just take take this BMAD out and then put the new version in, but now it's the new version of Brian's opinion. It's not my opinion. If I evolve it, then I can't do that anymore. Kind of like what you were saying, is it would be nice to have the base set of opinions for like using Janaga, and then be able to layer your own on top of it. So I haven't fully cracked that nut, but I think I might address that here. Talk about some generic skills, and then some more opinionated skills. But first I need to see if that works. But yeah, that's that is BMAD. And the okay, so was there one other thing that I wanted to one other interesting thing is that it has memory built in. So this BMAD output, this is output from prior sessions that I've had with BMAD. And so this is that memory pattern at the project scale, versus this one is the memory pattern at the agent scale. So each agent gets its own unique memory. I think I think BMAD might have some agent-specific memory as well, but yeah, by having these, by having this folder, which now becomes part of the pull request, so you have the code, and you have the artifacts that led to that code. Now you're evolving your opinions this way. You're keeping track of the things that you've learned, and so that's a great idea. I just want to have memory in a different way, and I want my memory to also be part of the skills. So evolve the skills as you use them, and that's going to be part of the recommendations here. Is when you use a skill and it produces output that you don't like, then iterate with the skill, or iterate with the LLM to correct it, and then immediately within the same session tell it to update the skill with what it learned. And now your PR includes the change to the source code and the change to the skill.
Okay.
So that's the process of evolving a custom factory. So yeah. So I uninstalled BMAD and said, no, I'll do it the way that I'm used to doing it.
Yeah. Okay. But so the website is growing step by step now.
Yep. One piece at a time. And in fact, yeah, of course, I am using a custom software factory in order to build the website too. So yeah, if you go to the repository, yeah, I've got some skills. So I'm using something called Astro in order to build it. So so rather than have it do that research, and it uses Context7, the MCP server that does research and pulls in information about open source projects. Instead of doing that research every single time, I said, oh, capture the information that you need about Astro components and best practices. Capture information specifically about Starlight, which is a layer on top of Astro that does the data binding. And then when I put together the first example factory, I said, okay, let's create a skill that documents how example factories work. And so now it loads the skill anytime I need to add a new example factory. And then as I add the hover effect, that changes the skill. So my next PR is going to include not just all of that content, but also an update to the skill that captures how all of that works. And of course, the most important skill, the skill creator skill. That's where you have to start.
Mm-hmm. So it goes really from one step to another. Mm-hmm. The moment that the whole thing gets into a circle.
Yeah.
But in fact, we are already doing that with the validator, going back, and then building again, going back. Yeah. Could it go out of hands?
Yeah. This is the method that you use to keep it in bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And once you get to that point where you are just using the software factory, what you're doing is /command @artifact, and so that's why I chose that for the icon /@. So you just say /create migration @specification, or /implement feature @specification, and so that launches agents that then use the commands that use the skills in order to coordinate and implement that workflow. And then you'll get to the point where I think we might actually be there now with the latest releases. So my course is already a little bit out of date. You'll get to the point where you can trust a full end-to-end implementation to a cloud, unsupervised LLM.
Okay.
So yeah, there have been significant improvements to Claude, both Opus and Sonnet 4.6, to do a better job of following instructions, and also GPT Codex 5.3. So yeah, I suspect that if I were to run that same demo with today's model, it would not ignore the output of the validator the way it did in the course. But this is how you get to that point in the first place, and then you can just be on your phone. Hey, I've got this idea, /write story, and then you talk to your phone, just describe the story. Then you just review.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And the speed with which it becomes even more incredible is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Well, yeah, I talked an awful lot about that without actually continuing the iteration on the
Cascade.
Yeah, the Cascade user story. But there we go. But yeah, maybe next time we can actually pick up that user story, because yeah, there's as I did go back and look at that user story again, there are still a lot of details that are left out, and so I really want to iterate on those, get those details locked in, and then yeah, we'll execute the software factory in order to build it. And yeah, there may be along the way some skills that that I need to codify, and so we'll do those, and then we'll continue the process.
All right, that's great. Good. Then we see each other next week, I think.
Yes, indeed.
I have a look at my agenda. No, it's all right. It's all right. Thursday afternoon is okay.
Yep.
if we don't get any other emergencies here, because last week we had very nice storms here.
Mm.
Actually, we had winds up to 180 kilometers an hour,
Wow.
and we don't have hurricanes or whatever here,
Mm-hmm.
so that's quite exceptional.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you receive any damage?
I was lucky because in our village we were we saw the red alert,
Mm-hmm.
but there was not much wind because we are protected by the mountains.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, but 10 kilometers further down,
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of tree collapsed,
Wow.
um, poles. There were a lot of places without electricity. Uh, a lot of villages were no electricity, no communication, nothing anymore,
Mm-hmm.
completely isolated. Um,
Mm.
here, here we had a few trips, power trips, but it was restored very quickly. It was just a matter of minutes,
Oh wow. Yeah.
but it was incredible. Like I saw the alert red, and then I heard colleagues which say, "Yeah, it's going crazy here." I said, "No, it's beautiful. It's like a summer day. A little bit windy, but nothing special."
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That wind is just going above you.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
coming back down. I'm going to hit them further away from the mountains. Yeah.
yeah. But like today, they announced orange alert
Mm-hmm.
orange, which is just the level below, but it's perhaps further down.
Mm.
Everything is quiet here, so
All right. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite exceptional because we went the last 10 days through three different storms,
Mm.
where normally we are used to have a little bit wind, but never something exceptional.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That is a crazy pattern.
yeah. Look, statistics.
Yeah.
you have the you have the average and you have the deviation.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Yeah. Very true.
okay, but over here it's not, because I think in your area you have hurricanes and all that.
Tornadoes mostly,
Yeah.
not hurricanes so much this far north. The hurricanes mostly will hit around the Houston area or the Galveston area.
Mm,
So Galveston is right on the coast, and yeah, Houston's not too far north of that. So yeah, yeah, it's yeah. Sometimes a hurricane will make landfall. Galveston will get shooken up a little bit, but then as it's traveling across land, it actually picks up a little bit of energy, and now it's got the water from the from the Gulf, and
mm,
then it drops it on Houston. So Houston actually gets some pretty bad hurricane
mm.
action, but then it fizzles out long before it gets up to the Dallas area.
Okay. All right. So Michael, see you next week then.
Yes, indeed. We will talk
Thanks a
then.
lot.
All right, thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.